Hey everybody, so the purpose of this video is to highlight a few of the items I use in cleaning and pressing comic books that I simply could not live without. I absolutely have to have these specific items. I mean, the type of press, that type of thing, the press doesn't really matter that much. As long as it's able to apply pressure at a particular temperature, that's all we really care about. The model, the brand, doesn't really matter. But these items, you kind of got to be pretty specific with them. So the first one is an Absorene Pad, kind of like this one. Now, these aren't too expensive, but they originally were designed, I believe, to clean dirt, soot off of walls, that type of thing, without damaging the paint. But it translates perfectly to cleaning comic books. You can use this on the color areas of books. You don't have to worry about pulling color generally, although if you do overdo it, you can still do so. But that's the great thing about this is the first thing I use on a comic book to start cleaning it up, because I don't really have to worry about damaging the color or the gloss of the book if I'm using this properly. Now, one tip I will give you is when you get it like this, take some scissors, whatever, cut it in half, because this is about all you need when you're working on a comic book, and then you get more bang for your buck instead of trying to use this whole giant thing. So yeah, on that theme of cleaning, you've got to have an eraser like this with the white tip. I like this version. You can kind of do like this. You never want to use one of these, just because it's a little more harsh, a little bit harder of a tip. So if it has color, if it's pink like this, you don't want to use it. Use this softer white tipped kind. And I'll just mention that if you go to my website, improvecollecting.com, all of the specific items I use are listed there. And be sure to sign up for my newsletter, because I'm creating a community of cleaners and pressers, and I'll actually show how to use, or how I use, all of these items that I'm featuring today. So sign up for the newsletter and you'll stay in the loop on what's going on with that. So most of the tools we use were not designed for cleaning and pressing. They were designed for a different purpose, and we just use them in this hobby. But this one, it actually was designed specifically for cleaning and pressing comic books. Now, it has this, it's called a chamfered board. The surface, I guess this edge is technically, that's the technical term for it. It's chamfered, it's rounded. So you can put it up underneath the cover of comic books, and when you're repairing the spine of a comic book, it gives you a much firmer surface to work against to repair that spine. So that's what I use it for. It's technically called a pressing board, but I don't use it. I don't actually press with this. I use it when I'm using another tool that I'm going to highlight here in a minute. So yeah, once again, you can find this, the link to this on my website as well, improvecollecting.com. This is a must-have. This was a game changer when I got this. I can't imagine doing this hobby without this. All right, and along the lines of what I was just talking about, you gotta have one of these. This is a Tacking Iron, and this one actually is not made anymore. It was the Hanger 9. If you can find this one, snatch it up. And the reason I like this one is because of the size of the head on it. It's much easier to work on areas of the book. Most of the ones you find will be much wider, and you can use those, but I like to be very specific when I'm working on something. So your temperature needs to be, if you do find one of these, a Tacking Iron, it needs to be somewhere between 130 and 160 degrees, basically around the same temperature that we press comic books. You want this to be. So if you're looking for one and you can't find the specific one, look for one with the smallest head you can find. It's got a flat surface. You don't want this to be rounded. And you want the temperatures to be in that range that I just mentioned. If you do find this one available somewhere or something similar, please let me know in the comments below, so I can others can know about it, because this is one of the things that's hard for people to find nowadays. I have a lead on one, and I'll probably list that on my website as well. So if you go to my website, I should have a current version if it's available on my website. Check that out. But that could change over time, so that's why I don't want to mention in this video specifically what it is. But yeah, you got to have a Tacking Iron. This will help you repair spine ticks, bends, whatever on the comic book. Interiors as well. Interior pages can be repaired with this. So yeah, got to have this tool to do this hobby. It's a must-have. And the last item that I'll mention is, believe it or not, SRP paper, which is basically the same kind of paper. This is technically parchment paper is this is the brand I use. And once again, it is listed on my website. And if this ever changes and I pick a different one, that'll be listed there as well. But for now, I'm using this one right here. I think what this is originally was designed for was, is it screen printing t-shirts, pressing decals or whatever onto t-shirts. So it's the same exact basic type of paper. And what I found is I've tried several brands of this, and you'll find that a lot of the types out there are not very great quality. They'll actually have little imperfections in the paper, knots, like little tiny knots in the paper that are very hard to find, and they'll press a dent into a comic book if you use that. This brand right here is the one that I found that does not have those imperfections. I've maybe found it 1 out of every couple hundred sheets. You still need to check these over, hold it up to a light, and look for little knots, but this brand I found is the best quality by far. And yeah, it's not as cheap as maybe some other options, but it's not expensive. I usually get 2 uses out of each sheet. So it's a very, very low cost, even though it is the best quality that I've found. It's still reasonably priced. You will see someone out there and people saying to use like something from Uline. It's these giant parchment sheets. They're actually baking sheets. And you cut them into like 4 squares per sheet. I would not recommend using that because those are rife with little imperfections and knots. I swear every one of those sheets has at least 4 or 5 of those knots in it. So finding, it looks like it's a cheap option, but by the time you cut those squares out and you have to throw away half of them, it's not that reasonably priced anymore, and it's just a huge headache. I would rather just buy this in the exact size that I need and just be ready to go without having to cut 1,000 squares, you know, and sit around with scissors all day long or whatever, you know. So that is basically, now there are other tools, and I won't go into those today, but these are the ones that you definitely have to do this hobby properly, in my opinion. And I cannot live without these tools. So once again, if you're just getting into this hobby or you have a lot of experience and you want to be part of a friendly, fun community so we can all kind of improve at this and kind of in a collaborative type of way, then please check out my website, improvecollecting.com. I would love to hear from you. Drop me a comment below. I read all comments. I read all emails that come to me. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks for watching. Stay nerdy, and I'll see you in the next video.